Let's go, boys. Like, subscribe, do that freaking thing.
That's my baby. That's my baby.
We're going at it at 110%.
I just want 5 minutes of happiness, please. Just give me 5 minutes.
And they scored! They did it!
Left, feet left.
What the hell was that?
Oh, yeah! What the fuck are you talking about?
What is up, fam? We are back for another episode of the Weekly Roundup. I'm your host, as always, Steve Rochelle, being joined by my freaking favorite degenerate of the world over here, Mr. freaking Zachary Burr. He does not like me calling him that. Never. He does not like me calling him
I'm
that.
a rebel. I'm cool with it. I'm a rebel. I've always been like, I'm the guy that, like when you're growing up and your dad told you not to do something, as soon as he told you that, like, I'm going to go do that, you fucking asshole. Like, I'm that guy. I was like, don't tell me not to do it, damn it. That's a challenge.
Absolutely. We're gonna have some fun tonight. Obviously got some NFL stuff to talk about, some Eagles stuff to talk about. Flyers are getting their freaking asses handed to them right now. The Sixers are
We're not talking about the Flyers. We're not talking about the Flyers. You know what? They don't deserve to be talked about. That, you know what? How about that? How about that? You don't get to get mentioned on the show because you're off 9-0.
Well, now they're down 3-0 now. Last I checked to the Islanders.
Oh, well, of course they are. Why wouldn't they be?
We're also gonna give our thoughts on last night's BKFC 16. Big congratulations to Leonard Garcia. Congratulations on the career. We were, I was fortunate enough to be able to get him on here right before his last fight. So, really appreciate that. Leaves it all out there. Hopefully, like I said, hopefully it's something that I talked about with Dave, that he gets kind of grandfathered into one of those, mentorship roles and stuff like that. But also with that being said, there's still UFC fight night tonight, and we still got PFL MMA light heavyweight Daniel Svan, Dana the Dragon Svan's going to be joining us. So we got a lot to go over today, and they're already going crazy in the chat room. We got Big Play Slays in there.
Who's the perfect person, Steven? It's the perfect person. He can give some insight. Big Play Slay is here, so is Brian Daly. Tommy's here. See, perfect. What a perfect audience, Steven.
Up in the
know what? You know what?
No birds. Yeah, top more places coming.
Before we get into anything, I'm with you, Tommy. But before we get into anything, because I know what our poll question is. We all know what the poll question is, Steven, right? Are we going to sign a marquee free agent? Are the Eagles going to sign a marquee? Yada, yada. Okay, before we get into all that, right, I just got to say, with everything that's transpired, it's amazing what's transpired in a week. I mean, we've had a lot. Steven, yes, you talked about not just the Eagles, but the NFL. There's been a lot that's happened on both fronts in the last week, right? But of all the things, I've been saying this forever, and Carson finally opened his mouth, and it just proved my point about what I've been saying about Eagles fans forever, right? Remember we had Rudy on, all right? And he thought it was hilarious, my Nick Foles, theory that I had about, how it's this cult and people, and he's like, you're making it sound like it's some sick cult. Like, it is. This is what people do. And then what did I say about it? What did I say? I said it's like the guy that we all knew in high school that, fucks the girl for the first time, and he loses his virginity to the girl for the first time, and now he's obsessed with her, right? Like, he's obsessed with her. He just can't let it go, right? Like, or it's the other way around, and she fucks him for the first time, and she can't let it go, right? And she gets his name tattooed on her arm, and she's stalking him, at all times of the day. She won't stop blowing up his phone with text messages. I don't know if you were that person in high school, Steven. I don't know how popular you were, but I'm just saying, we've all known that person, right? It's that weird, like, just let it go type of thing. It's the ex-girlfriend, whatever you want to call it, right? Where you break up, y'all are like not together anymore. Next thing you know, she's fucking some other dude, and you're like just completely out of your mind with jealousy. That's what this is. And Rudy thought it was hilarious. But here we go again with another example of it, right? Carson opens his mouth, people, he's going to wear number 2. People like are livid by it because he's. I guess they think he's trying to troll Jalen Hurts. I don't know if he is or not. If he is, it's funny. It's hilarious. I think it's fucking awesome. Go out and troll all you fucking want. But he's living rent free in people's heads in this city. He's living rent free in people's heads in this city at such a level where like the littlest things that this guy does is now just blowing people like over the top. He spoke at a press conference, for God's sakes. Spoke at the press conference about how he felt everything went and it wasn't like it was anything we didn't already know. It was like, oh yeah, I connected those dots a long time ago, type of thing, right?
Yeah,
and
right,
people,
exactly.
Like lost their fucking mind over it. Like this dude, this makes me want this guy to go kick ass in Indianapolis so much more. Like this, I love my Philadelphia sports teams. I love my Philadelphia sports teams. At times, I am so embarrassed to be a part of this fan base. Because as passionate as we are, we've got some of the dumbest motherfuckers on the face of the earth that are roaming, in this fan base bleeding Eagles green. I mean, some of these people make you embarrassed to be like an Eagles fan. And literally Carson lives rent-free in these people's heads so bad that they just went out and fucking bullied a 13-year-old on social media with all types of medical issues because you're fucking letting a grown-ass man in Carson Wentz live in your head. So you go and bully a 13-year-old kid to the point where we watched what blew up with that young man, Giovanni, right? I mean, that young kid, he's a diehard Carson Wentz fan, Eagles fan, all that, right? And the kid's 13. Carson's been his hero for 5 years or whatever it is. Like, we've all been there as kids, right, as sports fans. Like, are you, like, what type of fucking idiot, like, who sits there and brings this down to, like, a level where they're so pissed off by what Carson did that now they've got to go and fucking bash and attack and find every single way to make like a 13-year-old kid feel like he's the worst human being on the face of the planet. This is ridiculous. I mean, it's gotten to the point where like, grow the fuck up. Like, people in this fan, let it the fuck go. You've got a little, you've got a daughter, right? I mean, you probably remember when Frozen was popular. Let it go or let it snow, whatever the fuck. I don't know what the fuck was in there, All
right, well, like you're saying, let it go. Let this go for right now. Let's get back to this. We'll hop back on this. And obviously, the show is brought to you by SpecializedPhysicalTherapy.com. Check out our Dr. Paul Vidal at Specialized Physical Therapy, LLC, 2 locations in Burlington and Ontario.
You wanted this to happen, Stephen.
Oh, I did, brother. I did. And obviously, the poll question is what and is brought to you by Specialized Physical Therapy. And will the Eagles will not sign a marquee free agent this offseason? Agree to disagree? I already know your thoughts on this. I don't think if anything marquee, it won't be free agent. It would be trade. But I digress. Mr. Burr, real quick, your thoughts on the poll, then we'll go. I'll give you my reverse thoughts on your rant too, as well.
I mean, I just don't know if the money's there to sign a marquee free agent. Like, yeah. I saw that we were in. I guess we made an offer, whatever that means, on Juju Smith-Schuster, a multi-year deal that was worth more money. I don't know exactly what that means. That could have meant that we were paying him $5 million this year, and then we had it backloaded. I don't really know exactly how the money in that contract would have played out. Just because they said it was multi-year and more money than what the Steelers was offering doesn't mean it meant more money this year. We don't really know the details of any of that or how it all went. But we were at least, I guess, a bidder in on that. Does that mean that we have money available? Maybe, but Juju Smith-Schuster is probably the most marquee free agent name on the market, is he not?
Yeah, that was probably the tip of where our reach would have been as far as marquee would go. But again, I want to kind of give my reverse onto what you're saying. The whole Carson thing, the whole Giovanni thing, the whole number thing, all that. And you're sitting there saying, it's rough being an Eagles fan. And sometimes that was probably one of those things where I stopped myself because I just wanted to go after everybody just because that's who I am. It's ridiculous that we're even having to have this conversation where grown men other players from both our franchise, not in our franchise, or having to reach out to this kid because you guys feel rent free, whatever it is, let it go. Whatever you got to freaking do. Like dude, it's disgusting to look at pockets of this fan base, and there's parts of them that are amazing fans. There are parts of them that are diehard, that are very knowledgeable. But then there's the bottom of the barrel, and that's some of the things that I don't want to see involved in Philadelphia sports, Philadelphia media, Philadelphia fans. Get it out. We don't need any of that nonsense anymore. And that's all I'm gonna have to say about it. And moving forward, if I catch any Philadelphia Eagles fan or anything different coming at this kid, I promise you, I'm coming at you with venom. I had enough of this nonsense.
It was jealous, like small dick energy.
Get jealous schoolgirl stuff. It's kindergarten nonsense. We shouldn't even be talking about it.
I mean, as a grown individual, like, how do you let, like, forget about anything else, but how do you let Carson Wentz is another grown ass man, right? Like, Steven, you're a grown man, I'm a grown man, Carson Wentz is a grown man. How do you let a grown man live rent free in your head so bad? The jealousy, the hatred, the absolute, like, some of the people in this fan base are like, they were so triggered by this guy. Like, how do you let somebody affect you to that point? Like, grow the fuck up. Like,
and then we got some more. And then we got some more stuff, man. Like, we got some more stuff we got dealing with right here, man. Bryce, you know what, dude? Bryce, hit me up in my DM. I want to send you something, dude. We always brighten your day. I want to do something else to brighten your day, man. Thoughts and prayers to you, brother. All that good stuff. That's fucking insanity, man. Fucking insanity, bro. Seriously, you're on my Twitter, dude. Hit me up. I got something for you, man. I'm gonna brighten your day a little bit more.
That's the last thing we need.
That's
fucking
God. Ridiculous, man.
You're talking about negative energy.
Thoughts and prayers, brother. Stop the sports talk for 1 second. Bryce is always on all of our shows, dude. Bryce,
yeah, man.
Seriously, I'm not playing. Hit up my Twitter. If you don't, I'm gonna find you when I'm done. All right. That's fucking nuts.
I can't believe you're even listening right now, bro. But my hope would be that we bring you.
I love you. I love you, Bryce. You're a fucking trooper, man.
But if I was in your position, like, I really wouldn't. Like, I don't be no way I can listen. But my hope is that the reason you're listening is because we bring you some type of escape. We bring you the ability to laugh and let yourself just be a little bit happier, at the time that you're listening to us, as opposed to.
Dude, why are we having to start the show off on this crarazy talk right now? But hey, this is the way it goes. It's the way everything flows. But Jay wanted to hop in there. Anthony Harris is a baller. Stoked that we got him an Asante Samuel. I guess that will jump the ball over the top. Yeah, genetics. Hey, listen, I like the signing. It's one of those low key things.
I like it a lot more if we draft Asante Samuel Jr. Then it's like, oh wow, what a
listen, man. Like, if you work this draft right, I actually think you could probably get the wide receiver, the cornerback, and probably another key position within those first three rounds, like we should have last year.
If you go Pitts at 6 and you find a way to get Samuel, whether it's early in the second round, you have to trade back up in the first, whatever. If Pitts and Samuel are my first 2 picks, with the way everything else is played out this offseason, I mean, that's why they the whole question about the marquee free agent. I mean, I'm not like the money. Like, even if you could find a way to how he's been doing, I guess a good job with. I mean, now here's the problem with that is all this money that becomes. You still got to pay it at some point, right? Whether it's next year, the year after, whatever. I guess we'll deal with that then. But I guess he's done a decent job of being able to take us from -$60 million to -10 or whatever it is. But
we got people in the chat. People in the chat giving some love at the price here too.
Absolutely,
giving love some. Listen, I tell you, listen, when we a tight knit family like that, it's crazy, man. Bryce, it's Sports Talk Steve 1. So if you can't find me, I'll find you. I promise you. I seen your Twitter handle on there. Oh, it's crazy, and Ray's even toning in like listen, that's one thing. Here I gotta bring Brickman's comment in to break it up too.
Well, yeah, I mean that's exactly. I mean, at this point, I don't know why we're even talking about the idea of trying to spend money on a marquee free agent. Like, why?
Well, listen,
We spent $5 million to sign Anthony Harris, right? Like that's like the most like why I was surprised. Oh damn! Like we had money to sign that guy. Like the idea of us talking about like signing anything bigger than that.
And Ray's also bringing up another point here. Like who's left that is even worth like you're, and he's right. You're going to be overpaying for which what's got us in trouble. Into this point as it is already right now where it is. We still have to make sure we sign people, and you still they go the unrestricted route. They wait to find guys that they could plug in that have been released off of other teams. Like I don't really know why anyone in this fan base.
Barnett. I'm not sure why a guy like Barnett's still here. Like we went now. Like we've been talking all for the past couple months about like we figured Barnett was going to be. It was guaranteed he was going to be a cap casualty because you saved yourself however much money in dead cap space, and all of a sudden we brought the guy back.
Yeah, like, the Giants did sign. The Giants did sign Kenny.
I don't want to talk about the Giants. I get it. They just
listen at this point in time that they're going to be better than us.
What Jeffrey Lurie talked about with rebuilding, Stephen. Everybody's better than us right now. All I'm talking about, I don't really give a fuck about anybody. We put ourselves in this position. It is what it is. We're going to rip the show.
I like this one. I like this one. This one.
What did I say about we traded Carson? It's going to end up going down as the worst trade in franchise history. And I mean, look, people are already. I can't wait to see how triggered people get when he's winning football games and he's making deep playoff. Oh my, it's going to be so awesome to watch the video. I'm going to love it. I'm going to so love it. But I don't know. This idea like they're better than I get. Yeah, Washington's better than us. The Giants are better than us. Dallas is probably better than us at this point. Even more of a reason for us not to go out and try to sign anybody. It is what it is. Jeffrey Lurie talked about rebuilding. We're going to rebuild. What rebuild are you talking? I don't see a rebuild. All I see is a bunch of let's shed cap space for this year, have to pay it next year or the year after, and go through this whole same fucking cycle that we went through the past couple of years. Derek Barnett's back, Brandon. All these guys. We're going to, it's one more run at it, right? Like, it's almost like that's what they're doing here. That's what they're doing here. Oh, we changed our mind. All of a sudden they think that Jeffrey Lurie is so in love with Jalen Hurts, they think they can compete and be a playoff team again. Oh, everything goes right. We draft and we fill the right holes. We hit right with the right players in the draft. We got a chance to be a good team. No, we don't. Washington's dominant.
And here we go again with that one. Everyone's in there saying Adoree Jackson.
We're not signing Adoree Jackson.
I got to admit with you with that one. He never looked nice in that number 2. And what I really hated about that, Bryce? Everyone's like, oh, he's trolling Jalen Hurts. Why? Why is he trolling Jalen Hurts?
He's been 11 forever. Michael Pittman wouldn't give him his number.
He did everything he could to schmooze Pittman into giving him the number. After Pittman said, oh, he's not really attached to it, but he really was attached to it.
I thought he might pick 4 just because like a Brett Favre-ish type of thing, but
yeah,
who cares? 11. What's 1 and 1 together equals 2. Like it's maybe it was just that.
All right, it's a retool.
Retool exactly, Tommy. Right? We heard rebuild, and me and Tommy talked about this. We were laughing about this on one of the shows right after he said it because what did Lurie say? He goes, this is going to be a 2 to 5 year rebuild. Well, that's what the hell are you talking? 5 years is a rebuild. 2 years is a retool. So what are we talking about here? You don't even know what you're talking about. This, Lurie's talking out of both sides of his mouth every chance he gets. I mean, this is why we're calling the guy Jerry Jones Jr. right now. This is what the guy fucking sounds like.
But see, that makes more sense because I don't think he's going to come here. I think if the Eagles are going to do anything for CB2, it's going to be within the first round of the draft. Why would Adoree Jackson
come here? Why would he come here? What are we doing?
Exactly.
Even if you sell him the idea that, it's going to be a retool, why would the guy sign a 4-year contract to be here for 2 years of just garbage? And then, that doesn't make any sense. He's going to a team on the up and up, and that's not us. And we don't have the ability to overpay him.
And then obviously we're going to have to address these nonsense rumors we were hearing again. It almost seems like anytime there's a star involved in a trade rumor, we have to be attached to it, regardless of what's the only one it doesn't happen to is baseball.
When was the last time we traded for a star, Steven? Is this because we went and traded for Alshon Jeffrey a couple years ago during the Super Bowl season? in 2017. Like,
there you go. Yeah, I like that one. Took 2 for redemption. I like that one.
Could be. I mean, yeah, there could be a lot of things. Like the Jalen Hurts thing. Like for all, like he even praised Jalen in his press conference. Like to our knowledge, there's absolutely zero tension, zero like bad blood between him and Jalen Hurts. Why would he want to troll Jalen Hurts? If anything, I think him and Jalen are kind of like, hey, like we're both like very respectable, humble, people, and like we just, like neither one of us is over here wishing bad on the other. It's just this is the way the business works, and we're along for the ride type of thing. Like, if anything, like I think there's like you could talk about how his relationship with Howie's deteriorated. He said it was. And what's this story about the Philly media? How much of an overreaction he said it was about what they reported about him and Doug Peterson's relationship, right? He said that was an extreme overreaction. Oh yeah, no kidding. Of course it was. Just like you demanding a trade out of Philly was an extreme reaction. Like, well, we didn't hear a goddamn word from the guy for 3 months.
Well, I just say it like this. One, it's nonsense. We already know what the Texans were offering. Yes, we have some capital, but there's no way this city would allow that to happen. As much as I would sit there and like that for that to happen, especially because the type of player we know Deshaun Watson is. But with the announcements that is coming out over the past few weeks and months about his personal stuff off the field, is that a guy you want to bring in here right now?
True or not. Hold on, Steven.
Yes, sir.
Just roll with me here because I'll play devil's advocate to you. You wanted somebody to argue with. You've got your man. I'll never shy away from it, right? But if we're just being honest about it, they were talking about, we heard what the Bears apparently offered for Russell Wilson, right? Apparently the Bears had offered 3 first-round picks, another pick, and 2 starting players. I don't know why the Seahawks didn't say, okay, like no takesy backsies and like sign here on the dotted line. I don't know. I mean, they probably should have taken that deal, but that's another story. But if that's what the Bears were apparently offering for Russell Wilson, we got to imagine that's what the Texans were saying.
I agree with right here that we're gonna draft DBs because that would just be so that a Howie thing to do. Meanwhile, we have other holes elsewhere.
We go Surtain and Samuel back-to-back picks. We could. I mean, that could happen, but.
I mean, I would love that. Hold
on. We do that. I mean, okay, so if we do this scenario that we're talking about, we could do that, right? But then
if you do that, then you obviously means that some of your other guys are going to be on the way out of here. Avonte Maddox are going to be all out of here.
Avonte Maddox stinks.
and you're going to have to do something with that Roby Coleman, and then you're going to have to do something with that Roby Coleman contract too.
This is why this trade isn't going to happen. If you wanted that trade to happen, Derek Barnett wouldn't be here. You would have cut him and freed up some cap space. So things like that, just the writing on the wall tells me that trade that's smoke and mirrors. But if you're just asking me would I do the trade now, I think realistically, if anything that comes to this, even if we all think the Chargers are bullshit, and I don't want to even say that because I have I played this game with Phil Cosby, right? 1 or 2 women accusing me of something. Maybe it's a money grab. All of a sudden, we've got 16 women. 21 women? We got 21 different lawsuits or something. That Steven, listen. You've got a young daughter, right? Like, let's be honest here, right?
Hey, listen. That's why I'm saying, listen.
That many women aren't lying, right? Like, if you ask me to bet money one way or another right now, I think I'd bet more money towards Deshaun Watson actually being a scumbag piece of shit. And actually being guilty of this shit, then I would actually bet money against on his innocence. But I'd rather shy away from that argument for right now until we had more evidence come out, just because there's so much nonsense with it going on. Yeah, there's a lot of red flags with the lawyer and all that. I get it. That's why we're just talking about the trade. Say this were to drive his trade value to the point where you went from giving up 3 first-round picks for Deshaun Watson to give up a first-round pick and a third-round pick. All of a sudden, if you're asking me, we give up a first-round pick, a third-round pick, and Zach Ertz for Deshaun Watson. I might be game. Like, I'll take my chances. And I'll ride it out, and I'll hope that all this shit that's going on, with this whole scandal, it'll run its course. I mean, hell, we know for a fact that Ben Roethlisberger raped at least 2 women. We know for a fact that he raped at least 2 women, and he's still quarterbacking in the NFL. Why can't, like we think that Deshaun Watson, whatever the case is with all this, it'll find a way to run its course, and he'll still find a way to be playing quarterback in the NFL when it's all said and done. If you're just asking me, like, is it worth trading for him? At this point, it might be. It might drive his trade value down enough where it might be. And that's my argument, Stephen, before we move on, because then we'll move on, because, I didn't want to beat a dead horse with it. But
yeah, I know.
That's part of my argument for why I think people think that there's this conspiracy theory and that this might be something with the owner because the lawyer and the owner are neighbors and they're best friends. Why, if you're the owner of the Texans and you're sitting here playing hardball with Deshaun Watson and Watson wants to be traded and you're saying, no, I'm not trading you, why would you go from having all this leverage where you could get 3 first-round picks for the guy to all of a sudden creating this scenario where you might not even get 1 first-round pick for the guy because you've got 21 different women accusing him of, or 21 different lawsuits against the guy for sexual assault allegations? That doesn't make sense to me. Like that seems like the wrong type of, like, if you're talking about a PR stunt, I don't know if that makes any sense on the owner's part. You're driving down your guy's value. You would want to do something to help you get even more value out of the situation, and this isn't it. So I'm starting to think over the next couple of weeks we're going to see a lot of details come out, and I wouldn't be surprised if there's a lot of truth to all these allegations. And I don't want to say that about the kid because I really liked Deshaun Watson, the football player, and up until this moment I thought he was a really, really good representative for what the league wants their players to be. But, we thought Bill Cosby was a good dude for a long time too, right? So he was, every day, like that was the model TV dad. Like everybody grew up watching the Cosby Show in the 80s. Like this guy, like he's the model for what you want a dad. And it turns out he's the complete opposite. He's just a total piece of shit human being. And I don't want that to be the case, but I mean, too many times now we've seen it be the case.
Listen, man, anyone who forces themselves on a woman, you're gonna be judging one way or another, regardless of what we talk about public opinion, or within your own circle, whatever. Listen, those are things he's gonna have to deal with. It is what it is at this point in time. I'm one of those guys. Like, listen, like you're innocent to proven guilty, but also at the same time, if I'm looking to bring a guy in, this is one of those things. Like, listen, allegation or not, great talent or not, this is something I kind of want to stay away from. Especially if you're this Eagles team that is trying to kind of rebuild and trust. You just heard Jeffrey Lurie, like, we're gonna have to build around Jalen Hurts. So I better see And that thing just irritated the hell out of me too. I forgot that we haven't really touched on that. Now we were both guys who supported Jalen Hurts, but also we're Carson guys. Now tell me this, as being a fan of this team, watching throughout the years, watching the front office fail quarterbacks throughout the last 25, 30 years, we've seen it. Randall Cunningham, Donovan McNabbs of the world. We've seen them not have everything they need around them. And then you hear now that okay, build around Jalen Hurts when that's all we needed the last few years to get this team over the hump.
And let's clarify, because we've both been on the record, as you were saying. I want Jalen Hurts this year. We're talking about this year. I want Jalen Hurts to be the starter, right? Like I was talking about how mad I would be, if they drafted a quarterback at 6, right? Like I don't want Justin Fields at 6.
That's what I was basically saying. I wouldn't touch him. I just wouldn't touch him at all, regardless if the charges are filed or not. Right?
That point completely, guys. I really do. Like, trust me, you're not wrong. Like, because even if you give up a first and a third round pick, or a first round pick in Zach Ertz for him, and it turns out he's going to jail for an extended period of time, Right? So, yeah, exactly. That's even worse type of shit that you really can't afford to do right now. So, but
all right, but real quick before we go on, this next segment is brought to you by Body Check Wellness, and they are a line that promotes balanced recovery using a full potential of hemp. They come in extract blends, gummies, topicals. Use promo code A2D for 20% off your order at bodycheckwellness.com. And make sure I get touching on this, since we're almost at the end of the first quarter for the Sixers. We haven't really got a chance to even say anything, but they are up 40-19 on the Sacramento Kings with about 42 seconds left in the quarter. Yeah, I don't think they're missing Ben or Joel Embiid tonight is going to be much of a difference.
So let's one thing real quick.
Go ahead.
Okay. So we're on the same page here, right? It's not like our problem isn't that Laurie say, oh, like we want to build around Hurts. We're fine with that. My problem is that Laurie's the guy dictating that we build around
they
Jalen
cater
Hurts.
to. Who they're catering to, right?
Right. Like Jeffrey Lurie should not be the guy making that decision. If Howie Roseman wants to come out and say we're building around him, Nick Sirianni wants to come out and say, hey, I want to build around Jalen Hurts. Okay, fine. My problem is with Jeffrey Lurie sticking his big fat nose in football operations like he wants to be Jerry Jones and dictating the way that football decisions and football operations are going to go. That's my problem with it because I want Jalen to be the starter this year. I want to see what the kid has. He at least deserves the full year to get a shot to see what the kid has.
Without that, and here,
but I don't like Jeffrey Lurie being the guy.
And listen. No one doesn't want him to succeed or play well.
Right.
Like, listen, he's our quarterback now. He's our guy, dude. My son was the biggest stain of the last two quarterbacks we had in this city, and guess what? He's been asking for me for the last 2 months, Jalen Hurts stuff, and guess what? It doesn't matter. Listen, we're all real Eagles fans are going to support whoever's under center. Doesn't matter what number he wears. Doesn't matter what color skin he is.
I've said, how many times did I say, Steven? I think the kid's Tyrod Taylor, but I'd love for him to be Russell Wilson, right? Like but that's not me being a hater. That's just me trying to be realistic. I'm not going to root against the kid. I'd love for him to go prove to me that he's the second Russell Wilson, and that's why all this talk about Lurie and Roseman taking him because they felt like they missed out on Russell Wilson the first time.
And you know what?
That's why they took him forward. I'd love that to be the case.
You also hope that we become wrong about the Carson Wentz trade because in hindsight that Jalen Hurts becomes a franchise quarterback and takes this team to playoff victories and hopefully more. But hey, we don't know that's going to happen yet
because Carson being good makes that a first-round pick for us next year. So I want to see Carson be good. I want to see him be successful this year because that makes our draft pick better next year as well. So I think this is why I talk about the pettiness and we talk about like the people in this fan base that need to grow the fuck up. You can root for both guys. Like you don't have to sit here and be like, oh, Jalen Hurts is my quarterback now and fuck Carson Wentz. Why not be like, hey, I hope Carson does well in Indianapolis. I'm root for hey, I'll go root for Indy to be a good football team this year. I can root for them in the AFC. Why the fuck not? There's no rules against that. I don't wish the guy down. I want to see him play well and be successful. But I'm not going to sit here. I want to see the Eagles play well too, and I want to see Jalen Hurts become the best player he can be. You can do both of those things, but like we're so weird in this city, like with this fan base, that we've got to somebody's always got to be the villain. Like somebody's always got to be the villain, and Carson's the villain right now. Like. Which is good for Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid, by the way, because if as we get close, further and further into the spring and the summer here, Steven, nobody's going to be talking about Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid. All they're going to talk about is how much they hate Carson Wentz, how much they want to see this guy suck in Indianapolis. That's good. That's good for the Sixers. What a perfect segue. That was professional.
And Tommy's adding it out on here that the giveaways are coming because they are. Obviously they are because like I tell you, I got a whole bunch of stuff just waiting to unload on you people.
Speaking of stuff, Steven.
What stuff you got talking about now? What's up, brother?
No, real quick. It's because it's badass. I bought it today, and I'm very proud of my. It's a Babe Ruth vintage Red Rock Cola.
Oh, I was about to say this. Is it soda, right?
Yeah, but I mean, is that not a badass piece of sports? I mean, that's cool as hell. Like, I'm going to hang it on my wall.
We all got our taste when it comes to our own sports memorabilia. Hey, I think when I lightly said something about we were doing giveaways, I think one of my guys were on there critiquing me. Oh, is the COA from this? I'm like, there's a certificate of authenticity. Relax, guys.
Actually, when I bought it today, I was so excited to show it off on the show. So that was the big. Yeah, I mean it's a Babe Ruth. I guess he used to.
Yeah, and we got and that's another thing, fam. We got. I didn't even tell you yet. Tom's actually the only one that knows about this. We got some fun baseball stuff coming up for you this baseball season. About some good guests coming in the pipeline. It's gonna be fun. We got some giveaways coming related to both of those potential guests that are coming on. So, like I said, giveaways coming on. Like, subscribe. Everything's going to be freaking going crazy over here. Oh, Ray wants to know, are you a Yankee fan? Why does he have to? If he's a fan, listen, I'm not a fan of the team at all, but I respect more than half of the guys that played for that team. Still cannot stand the Yankees.
Babe Ruth is he's the biggest name in baseball history. Let's just be, he's the original, he's the guy that initially grew the game, to a level that it had never been before. He's the first player to grow the game in that way. Like he's the Bambino. He's Babe Ruth. He's the greatest of all time. I mean, you can't talk about baseball and the history of baseball without Babe Ruth being in every single important conversation. That's the way it goes. So, I mean, it don't matter who you're a fan of. Babe Ruth's the man, and I thought it was a really badass piece of memorabilia.
Would anything the media concoct these days not surprise you? Because, we see a lot of nonsense go on, Jay. That wouldn't surprise me.
That's a weird question, though, Jay.
I mean, it is a weird question, but, are you surprised with the way media acts today? I wouldn't be.
No, but that's so out of
so out in left field. But and Howie, yes, we know our team is crap right now, but guess what? Still love them. Still going to support them.
Howie
and get. Yeah,
maybe that's Howie Roseman in disguise.
Oh boy! And then you talk about things that coming out of left field. And that's Howard Roseman in disguise.
Well, we got Darius. I'm big play slang.
So did you also discover time travel?
I did actually, but that was a long time ago. I don't know. That was like 10 years ago. I'm not sure why we're talking about that right now.
It got brought up, and Jay's like, I've seen Stranger Things. He flat out said burner account.
Yeah, exactly.
Who is it Howie's burner account or just your burner account?
I don't know.
Can we get some clarification here? Hold on a second.
Somebody's burner account.
Did we find Howie's burner?
Kevin Durant over here, man. I was like, yeah, going to have multiple burner accounts all at once. Carson Wentz from Indianapolis trying to sit here and still sabotage Howie's name.
All right, well, you've refrained from me allowing to talk about the Flyers. Are you going to be talking about any of the Sixers right now? 46-22. Well, I mean,
you got to provide the updates there. Remember, I can't see
that. Oh man, come on, man. You got to work on that, man.
Well, my computer's broken right now, so I can't watch.
Well, the reason I'm asking you about the Kings because I know isn't Buddy Hield one of these guys you want on this team?
I would love to see Buddy Hield on this team, sure, but I mean, I think that idea is past. I think whoever's on this team, whatever, we're rolling with what's on this team at the moment. It is what it is.
So you're under the impression that Morey won't make a move?
Pretty much, nothing significant.
I don't know.
JJ Redick, that might be the move.
I mean, there'd be some fans that would be happy about that. There'd be a lot of people that would be pissed off.
I'm sure that'd be in the process. Let's trade for TJ McConnell and
Thaddeus Young.
Thaddeus Young.
I had to throw it in there.
Eric Snow might still be in the building.
All right, that's pushing it too far. He's going to be a coach at this point in time. You know what I mean? Eric Snow is in old man Tom Brady over here playing at 50. Yeah.
TJ McConnell.
Don Zachary Burr is absolutely watching Mark Madness. So anyone is in the chat and what's his thoughts on any of the games coming on? We're kind of breaking it down here. I'm trying to give the Philly love here. Zach's giving the love to the NCAA tournament. We're trying to give you all the flavors we can. It is the weekly roundup for after all. What's up?
I was fascinated I was watching Iowa against Grand Canyon University, and I was fascinated by the fact that Grand Canyon University was a Division I school. I thought they were just some online university. I didn't know they were even a Division I institution. I just thought you took online classes there. So I thought they were the University of Phoenix or something stupid. I was I was like, wait, they're a Division I program? They actually have a basketball team?
Completely ignore the request the request for some verification. We get this.
This is definitely Howie's burner account. It's either Howie or Jeffrey Lobo. Somebody's burner account. Somebody is over here. Coach Dan, that's Dan Williamson. I know who this is. It's Coach Dan, my old high school basketball coach at Dillon Academy. He's an Oklahoma City
There you go,
fan.
Jay. Breaking out the Hulk Hogan reference. Well, Bryce is watching it too, so that's what's up. You know what I mean?
Oh, I thought Bryce was I thought like he was trying to claim that him and Don were the same person for a minute. I was so lost. I don't like Oral Roberts, but I am a big fan of her sister, Anal Roberts.
Oh man, nights with Zachary Burr. Oh boy. And speaking of which, Chrome's in the house. But I don't know. It's got Zachary stuck there. He doesn't even know what to say now.
I was waiting for somebody to respond. So, Chrome, bro. I'm like 30 minutes from Disney, homie. Like we got like, I don't know like how long you gonna be down here, dude. But I live 30 minutes from Disney. I know you come down a ton. You're like at Disney every 6 months. At some point, we gotta meet up, get some lunch, catch a game or something. You know, A2D family.
Okay, Howie's burner. Nice to know.
It's totally Coach Dan. Like, yeah, that totally sounds like the next thing. If he says he's just like Kyler Murray, I know for a fact it's 100% Coach Dan Williams.
All right, this is gonna be going off the rails here in a second because apparently y'all just can't leave this stuff alone. Chrome wasn't over.
I don't know. I said the same thing today, bro. I have no idea why it got so cold. It was like 80 degrees the other day, and now it's like 50. It's not. This is fun.
But let me get some Sixers thoughts on you right now. You know, obviously we've been harding on the Sixers bench the last month and a half, but I don't know. This last month they kind of turned it up a little bit, don't you think?
I think they're a phenomenal bench team. Yeah, I mean it's.
Is this one of the reasons why you kind of feel that Morey's going to stay put? He isn't really going to make a move. But
what are you going to give up combined like to what you can get, and is it actually worth it? Like in that sense, like.
Well, no, I mean if you can give up like you know one of your guys, you can get Scott out of here, and maybe, unfortunately, you figure out which guy you're going to move on for, whether it be like Matisse or if you just don't invest.
I'm not trading Matisse.
I know you're not trading Matisse, but
not for Buddy Hield. I'll give you like a first-round pick for Buddy Hield.
Well, it's going to be a late first, and that's why you're going to have to give up a. That's why you're going to have to give up a player like either Matisse or a Maxey or somebody like that. You know that.
Tyrese Maxey, his upside.
I know, but
he's got more upside in his left big toe than Buddy Hield does in his entire body. Why would I trade Tyrese Maxey for the Kmart brand Tyrese Maxey?
You should just change it to Hurt Stain, because that might be a better name at this point in time.
Yo, I'm telling you, I'm this.
Jay wasn't as important Maxi bad to it. Oh man,
He's got the potential to be better than Kyler Murray. At what? What does he do better? He's not more athletic. He's not faster. He doesn't have a stronger arm. He doesn't have a more accurate arm. He's not as good at like eluding or evading pressure and extending the play. Literally, he's like Kmart Kyler Murray.
The Kmart Kyler Murray, and it's funny. I'll go back to you two messing around about how cold it is in Florida, but meanwhile it's like 60. It was like 60 something today. It's gonna be 60 something tomorrow. What do we swap places?
It is here right now. That's crazy.
It's good. We swap places for all of a
sudden. Global warming or something. I don't know. Oh, that should be intentional. Yeah, that's an intentional foul. I'm watching Maryland, UConn.
Yeah. Shake just lost the ball, coming down here trying to
Right,
trying to get cute behind the back.
I'll give you a first-round pick and Shake Milton for Buddy Hield.
You probably have to throw another player in there, like a Scott or somebody like that.
Another player.
You know that's what's gonna have to happen. But all right, listen, we're late first. Like it's not like the same kind of just the value.
Go get me Buddy Hield's numbers this year. I want to see what Buddy Hield's numbers are this year. Go find me Buddy Hield's numbers.
Listen, I don't think that they're not just slightly above average. I'm not sitting there saying that.
If I got to give up more than that to bring in Buddy Hield, what's the point? What's the point? I might as well just go trade a second-round pick for JJ Redick.
There's a comeback for it. There it is. There you go, Howie.
He's Kmart Kyler Murray. Mine was better.
Kmart Kyler Murray. Y'all nuts.
Well, no, because Kmart's like pretty much out of business at this point. They pretty much went bankrupt. So like,
aren't most of the places like that going bankrupt though?
No, Walmart put them out of business. Target, Walmart.
Oh man. So again, with the you're stuck on that not going to happen that way. I don't think that we're gonna make a deal of that caliber. I think it's gonna be like more along the lines where you were saying, like something below that Buddy Hield level. But I'm with you. If that's the case, first round draft picks are off the table.
Yeah, I'll give you like a second round pick for JJ Redick. Like
that contract? No.
Sure.
Oh, no. I don't know about all that, brother.
At that point, like just because he fits a role with what you need to do, you need a guy that can, you need more perimeter shooters. If you're saying we'll win now, I don't give a fuck about the contract. If he helps me win a championship this year, okay, fine. And I also didn't really give up much for me to like think too much about it. You know what I mean? If I give up a first round pick, Shake Milton, and something else for like Buddy Hield, or if I give up like 2 first-round picks for Buddy Hield or something, and we don't go win a championship, you know how like angry I'm gonna be? Like I'm gonna be like so like devastated, like this, like the fuck are we like? Ew! Like you ever seen that? You ever seen the Jimmy Fallon segment?
We're getting a basketball question from our burner account here.
Sure. The Nets stink. The Nets might be out in the first round. When has James Harden ever won anything? Kyrie Irving thinks the earth is flat. I mean, between the two of them, where's my coat?
Wait. Why are you going to announce something like that to us, Jay? You're going to get yourself hemmed up, man. That's how people.
I told you.
That's how people get booked, man. You better watch that, brother.
You see the red flags when he said, "Oh, you think they'll turn him into a child predator?" No, but I'm starting to think you might be one.
Only on A2D.com, my friends. Only on A2D.
That's like saying I'm not a rapist. Like, are you sure? Like, who the fuck? Like, why bring attention to it then? Like,
oh, Zachary, I love you, brother. Just keeping it 100% with all of them.
And that's how it's supposed to be. No filter. Yeah, I used to get in trouble in high school. It's funny. All throughout middle school and high school, I got in trouble. Because I'd speak my mind, and they'd be like, "Oh, like you can't do that." And like, I used to have teachers that defended me that were like, "No, he just has no filter. Like, if he thinks it, he says it. He doesn't worry about like what people think of it. He's like, that's the way he is about it." Yeah, well, sure. Like, what's wrong with that? Like, I'm not worried about your feelings. Fuck your feelings, right? Like, it is what it is. If it's real, it's real. I'm not going to worry about like if I think it and like, hey, like, okay, it's something that needs to be said. I'm going to say it. I'll worry about what you think about it later. Like we can handle that some other time. But in the moment, if I think it, I usually say it.
That probably was the ugliest free throw shot I've seen from a professional basketball player.
Was it Dwight Howard?
I don't even know who's at the line right now. It's for the Kings. He's number 20. Oh my God, that was horrendous. Holy crap.
No, I feel like if they really wanted to make like a significant move, something that you could have done that helps the team. We talked about it last week. You could have signed a Blake Griffin. You could have tried to make a move.
But I don't think Blake or anything that wasn't going to fit for any guys that they really needed right now. Like, dude, you got to also think like the way Tobias Harris. But all he's going to do is take minutes from like guys like Tobias Harris and stuff like that. Why would I want to do that?
I mean, how many minutes is he really going to take from him? Like, at this point, he's just a better option than the guy that's currently taking minutes from Tobias Harris. Like, my point is, I want to have as many solid players coming off my bench as possible. We're not trading for Bradley Beal. So if I'm not trading for Bradley Beal, okay, then we're talking about Buddy Hield. Okay, Buddy Hield maybe the one other guy that we talk about that might come in immediately.
Howard, we were already talking about that for like the first 30 minutes of the program. I mean, I don't know why you're reiterating stuff we've already got to touch on.
We don't need another shooter. I mean, that's all we need at this point. What else do you want? I mean, that's the only guy. Especially with Seth going down now with the ankle injury or whatever.
Here's the thing, right? Like, listen, what you're doing right now is you're doing is adding points off the bench during playoff time. That's the only thing you should be doing right now.
Yeah. JJ Redick's a good trade. But he's not going to sit there and take minutes from anybody at the shooting guard position. He's just another body that's going to rotate in. But you have to give up something to get him. Where I feel like Blake Griffin, you just would have signed a little bit. Boogie Cousins, you just would have signed a little. I know Boogie doesn't play no defense. Okay, great. Ben Simmons can cover anybody on the floor. I'm just looking for a solid depth piece off my bench that can come in and give me 10 minutes and maybe score a little bit. That's what I'm looking for, right? Like Boogie could have done that. Blake Griffin could have done that. You trade for JJ Redick. He's a guy that can do that for you. But right now, like, I don't need to go do anything sexy. The sexy trade was Bradley Beal. That's not happening. Buddy Hield, yeah, but we're going to give up. We're going to end up giving we're going to trade for Buddy Hield, and we're going to give up compensation that makes me feel like I'm trading for Bradley Beal. We gave up all that for Buddy Hield. I feel like I'd be more like. He's not Bradley Beal, but we're trading for him as if he is, type of thing.
Yeah, but I know how you feel because you also feel like we're also making a trade to make a trade too, where it's like where
I don't like that idea either, right? Like, what's really going to make you better? Like at that point, like that's not really worth it's worth giving up a second round pick to bring in.
Like I said,
another perimeter shooter.
I mean, I don't know where a guy like that fits on this team. Like I'm more along the lines with a veteran that knows his role and stuff like that. Someone who's going to give you something different than what you already have here. Seth Curry's already missing another game tonight too as well. Is he another guy that you have to worry about too?
Right, but he's a guy that's going to come back. So say you trade for a guy like JJ. Now you've got JJ and Seth, pretty much the same fucking player.
But Seth is basically starting though, isn't he?
Yeah, and is JJ really going to be good enough to take minutes? Like they're pretty much the same fucking player. But like you're almost saying like that's not even fair. That's not even fair, bro. That's not even fair, man. Steph Curry's defense is way better than JJ. Stop it. They're the same player. Come on, man. I mean, it's not like so significantly like it's super insulting, but like, come on, man, stop. Neither one of them plays any. I mean, like they both try. I guess they both like, I'm going to work hard on defense, but none of them are really any good at it. Like they both they spot up and they shoot the three. Like roll me off a screen, let me shoot a three. I'll stroke it. Like that's what they do. Like how many? I mean. I like them. Like I said, you can't have too many of those guys, right? You can never have too many guys.
Well, Howie, LeBron is barely stomachable anymore. That's beating a dead horse at this point in time, man. Come on.
But NBA news: LeBron suffered a high ankle sprain today. Ruled out indefinitely with a high ankle sprain.
Green, Cork, Miles Curry, and Harris are all streaky shooters and average defenders at best. I think that's a little bit stretched saying that about Tobias, though.
Yeah, Tobias is taking.
And Danny Green. Danny Green was damn near like like.
I was say Danny Green's known for his defense, right? Harris. I mean, Harris is outside of Ben Simmons, Harris is probably the best all-around player on the team, right? Like you're talking about both sides of the court. It's hard to.
Well, it's not just that. He's a guy that he's a guy who can go up and get you rebounds. He could dish it when it's necessary. And he's a streaky shooter, but like
good defense.
But like he's one of these guys that like all right, like if they go and try to take a JoJo at the game and they take a Ben at the game, etc. He's a guy that they can lean on and can count on. You want a guy who's versatile like that. Like everyone wants to tear these guys down. That he's not like the best shooter in the world and he's not the best defender. I'm like, listen, is he more than serviceable? Is he better than good? Okay, great. You don't have to be a superstar in whatever your trade is when you're on the basketball floor, man.
Tobias should have been an all-star. I think everybody.
Now, this is the one everyone's been going. Everyone wants to trade for Lonzo Ball.
I don't like that idea either. Lonzo, again, he's a Kmart Ben Simmons. Like, that's what Lonzo is. Like, why are we trading for people that we already have a better version of? Like, the fuck? Like, what is Lonzo bringing to this team?
I'm with you there, right? This is kind of what I was sitting there saying. Like somebody who can kind of go both ways. Somebody, a veteran guy. Somebody that's not going to cost us a lot.
Buddy Hield's kind of that guy, right? Maybe, Buddy Hield, it might be the closest thing to that's available in the market at the moment. But Lonzo Ball definitely isn't that guy.
No one's sitting there saying that.
That couldn't do that.
And we get that JJ isn't the player that he once was. JJ
Stucks is ridiculous.
There's aspects of the game that are absolutely terrible. Stop it. I love JJ, and my girl's an absolute JJ Redick stain. But here's this thing, man. He can shoot the rock, but he's
and that's all we need him to do.
Oh, but he's beyond a liability on the other side of the floor.
Let's not act like Seth Curry isn't a liability on defense. This idea that Seth Curry is a good defender is ridiculous.
Yeah,
he's not his brother.
Are we having this conversation? Stop it, Howie. Stop it.
Thank you.
Stop it.
He does play D. I agree with you. That's why I said he's a Kmart Ben Simmons, though. He plays D and he's a good facilitator. But he can't shoot worth a lick, and he doesn't score at the level that Ben Simmons does. So what does he do? Why am I bringing him in? What is he doing for me? What's he just going to be my second team point guard? And we're like, okay, he's a similar, he does some similar stuff that Ben Simmons does, so he's good. But I want Ben Simmons on the court at all times. Like, to me, trading for Lonzo, that's just a trade to make a trade. Like, that doesn't you're not like
right. Well, too much. We're gonna get into this next segment here, and this next segment. Obviously, we're going through a lot of things, and our families deal with mental health and addiction issues. We're happy to support the Counseling Center and Sunrise Detox. If you need any help, please call 856-651-8117. And with that being said, we are going to be joined by our guest for tonight, and he is MMA fighter, professional fight leagues light heavyweight Daniel Svan. Dan, how we doing tonight, my friend?
Good. How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing good, man. Finally growing up from the audio age, you finally get to see you when I'm talking to you for once.
Exactly, it's a lot different nowadays.
Absolutely. But always appreciate your time, my friend. And got a big one coming up. It's just I think it's your third time around in this the PFL the tournament bracketing the way they do it. So. Obviously, we got about a month away to go here. What are you really looking forward to in this season? Is there any matchups that you hope it kind of works your way? When everything plays out.
Yeah, I'm just looking forward to getting to fight again after how COVID kind of shut everything down last year. So,
I mean, that's the other thing. I'm like, I know it's been a while since you had the fight and stuff like that, and like it's been rough, especially like a lot of people don't understand that people are outside of the bigger fight regions and the UFC and stuff like that. You guys haven't been really active over this past year, so it's been kind of rolling the dice, between training and everything like that. You don't know if it's fruitful or not. So, here you are. You're finally get ready to get into get back in the action. So, what have you been doing to keep yourself, busy, keeping everything sharp and not getting too distracted with everything else that's going on?
Oh, I've been working heavy and then training a lot. Just training, doing jiu-jitsu, doing some competitions, jiu-jitsu competitions, doing a lot of boxing, a lot of pretty much any competition I get into other than MMA. So, I've been staying pretty busy. I don't, usually sit and spin my wheels. So.
You never did, man. You've always even when things in life kind of stops this part of it. You always find ways to keep moving in other ways, and training and doing stuff but that's always great. But obviously they cut a lot of that down. Were you doing anything else? That I know a lot of people were. People have started podcasts. A lot of the ladies wound up starting OnlyFans accounts. We've had people doing all kinds of things. Some people some people went back to school. Some people were trying to find other avenues, acting and stuff like that. What are some of the things that you did to keep yourself busy? Outside of that,
kind of get into that a little bit, and I did a lot of private training and a lot of stuff like that. But I also have a full-time job outside of here. I'm a lieutenant, so I'm doing some other fields, so keeps me pretty busy. So, something that a lot of fighters don't have. I actually work a full-time job as well. So.
Yeah, and that's probably one of the pleasant things that you're able to kind of lean on the fact that MMA isn't your 9 to 5, so to speak. It's kind of a secondary job. You have your things you can lean on, so you don't really have to kind of go through a lot of the things that some of the other fighters do have to go through in that aspect. So. Sure. Yeah, that's a big plus. Yeah, definitely. A lot's been going on in the whole combat sports world as it is in general. Bare knuckle boxing was last night. Did you happen to check that out? Leonard Garcia was the main event. I didn't get to. Yeah, he finally hung him up. We've seen Chris Lieben kind of retire there earlier in the year. Leonard Garcia kind of flip the page, and he ends his career there in bare knuckle boxing. Kind of a great career, man. He's always had some of these amazing fights and stuff like that. Now that they're doing their thing, is that anything you'd ever want to dabble your hand into? I've seen a lot of both boxers and MMA fighters kind of go over, some last, some don't. Is that anything you would ever entertain?
Oh yeah, I'm open. I'm pretty much open to entertaining anything in my career, honestly. Right now, I'm still doing really well, and the place I'm at with PFL and where I'm at on that circuit. But if I was ever to feel like I wanted to kind of step out of there and go into bare knuckle boxing, I would definitely enjoy that, at least for a couple matches for sure.
Not something you would ever want to do long term, but hey, you're one of those guys that's willing to try anything, right?
For sure, but yeah, I don't think anybody can do that long term.
Yeah, I don't think so, man. I know that they say that there isn't long-term effects. I'm just sitting there saying that the men and women that do that, they're just built differently.
For sure.
Now,
Steven,
go ahead, brother.
Real quick, I just before we we move forward with the interview. A lot of people asking about March Madness and everything. Obviously, a lot of people paying attention to it. We've got an upset alert with Ohio, the 13 seed. Possibly about to take down Virginia with 12 seconds to play. They've got a 3-point lead. So, bracket buster. Everybody probably in this conversation at the moment filled out a bracket of some kind, I would think, right? So,
what about you, Dan? Are you an NCAA tournament bracket guy?
Not too much. I follow it with the guys I go to work a little bit, but I don't really get into the bracket myself. But I listen. I always root for Ohio State, being from downtown Columbus, though, for sure.
There you go. Now, with the obviously, again, you have a lot of big things going on with PFL. Are you hoping to kind of like you said, it's going great. Not anything else coming on the horizon. Are you hoping to kind of grow with them and kind of eventually get to the point where we're talking contendership titles, etc.?
Oh, for sure, yeah. I mean, I would love to. I'd love to just continue to grow as much as I can in that sport with PFL. I think they're a great organization, and in my opinion, it's much nicer to work for them than it has been for UFC, honestly. So,
I mean, listen, like I said, everyone has their own flavors when it comes to things. Like I say the same thing when it comes to combat sports. Regardless if we're talking from management, fighters, etc. Everyone has the way they like things done and dealt with it, etc. And hey, listen, I love what PFL's been doing. They've been building up that women's division. You see, Kayla, everyone's Kayla Harrison's just going to be the only one there, and then. We see Clarissa Shields has been signed. We just seen another, two-time Olympic level female just get added to the roster. I mean, I absolutely love what PFL is doing. I think it's really flying under the radar. I used to sit there and say it on my show all the time where I thought the UFC was going to be. I kind of feel like over the last few years they've kind of hit this wall and they've hit in this dry spell, and they're allowing not just the other promotions but other a sport like bare knuckle boxing, sports of the world to kind of come in there and steal the shine. And what PFL has done, what Bellator has been doing over the last few years, I kind of feel the UFC is just staying in the same place.
For sure, yeah. I mean, they seem like they're getting stagnant. And then on top of that, people don't realize, not being a fighter, not being in there, how they are with you behind the scenes. They don't know how management treats you and how people treat you behind the scenes and how the fighters are actually, worked with, and everything goes into play there. And personally, PFL has treated us behind the scenes like athletes. They've treated us more professionally, as we deserve to be treated for the training and the time and everything we put into this career. And PFL actually shows us that they appreciate that. Whereas UFC, I kind of feel like I'm just a number. So.
Is that the biggest difference to you? Is that what you were kind of insinuating and getting at earlier? Was that, it's working for UFC as opposed to your experience now with PFL? Is that the biggest difference? Is that what kind of makes it such a better experience for you?
Oh, for sure. For me, it definitely is. I mean, just all the way up to the president, Ray Sefo. He was a fighter. He knows what it's like. He'll come down. He'll talk to you. He literally, I actually have his number. I can text him. I can talk to him anytime I want. And, it's not like they're paying us. They're paying us comparable to more than what I was making UFC. So, they treat you right. They pay you what you're actually owed. They know that without us, there is no promotion. There is no show. There are no fans unless they have the people they want to watch. So, it's nice to see it in an organization. Mm-hmm.
Is that a good way to put it?
What's that?
A lot less politics. Is that a good way to put it?
Mm-hmm. Seems like, feels like it. So for sure.
I mean, I've always followed Ray from back when he started World Series of Fighting, and as it's kind of grown and become the PFL, and it's kind of been one of what Dan's kind of touching on. Has been one of the things that Ray's kind of wanted to separate himself. He may not have the biggest names in there. They may not have the most buys, monies, etc. like that. He's always made it a point that the athletes are coming first, and from what I've heard from over the years, that's pretty much what I've gotten. I don't have conversations with athletes or hear stories about how Ray's this terrible person. I don't even have to speak on the other side of it because it already speaks for itself. Because it's kind of a given at this point in time. We know how Dana acts. We know how he treats people. It is what it is.
For sure. I mean, and talking to him in person and dealing with him in person, one-on-one. I mean, he's the same way in person as you see him on TV. I mean, everybody asks, "Oh, is he really like that?" Like, yeah, he's really like that, in my experience.
Now, that seems like something that's, I guess, developed. Like, he went from the guy, like when UFC was the upstart company, he's just a big saying it. All of a sudden now he's the guy that acts like his shit doesn't stink, and he's the greatest thing on the face of the earth because of what he's helped grow that company into. And we've seen that in plenty of examples of all types of businesses throughout history. Like, you get to that, like, the only way you can go from there is down, right? It's almost like that type of attitude. Like, all you're allowing is for all these other promotions to come in and actually be legitimate competition, because you've got the completely wrong mindset at this point.
Oh yeah, pride goes before the fall. Kind of along those lines. Yep, all the way at the top until you fall down. So.
And then the other thing that you know is that you don't have the kind of the sponsor restrictions anymore and stuff like that. Does that also help? Is that like an actual like line of revenue? I know it's even rougher with kind of COVID and everything like that, but you know,
No, it makes a difference.
and like I said, you know, you're one of these guys. It's not like you're a stranger to the sport. A lot of people know who you are. You fought for you know most of your major promotions here. So it's like it's you know you have that opportunity. So like when you go and look at it like the pay scale, but like we've already talked about this before in the past, how you guys were in that structured thing, and then they made it worse when they kind of brought in the sponsor kits and all that stuff that just kind of really kind of you know made things not only difficult but an uncomfortable situation when that whole thing transpired. And I actually think that a lot of the fight, that's more reasons why fighters leave than they're unhappy with maybe how they're being treated by the UFC or feel that they're not being promoted properly. I think it's more along the lines that they know they can maximize their revenue in the while they're in this sport more outside of the UFC than it is in it.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I mean, sponsorship's where the money's at, honestly. You know, that's where, if you really wanted to do something, that's where you set it up. That's where you get small business trades. That's where you start working your own gym, where you work your own stuff and your own supplements. I mean, that's where you make your income after you fight. So, like, when they shut that down to where it's only, one company, Reebok or something like that, then what are you going to do with that?
And I believe they're changing. They just changed from Reebok. Like I think they just went to another brand sponsor like that. It was just like it's going to basically be the same type of setup that they had before. So
yeah, with a base pay that's ridiculously low compared to what all the other guys were getting before. Like Mighty Mouse was getting like $80,000 from Xbox.
But the other thing, if you're going to do something like that for the uniform, at least give the athlete an opportunity to have other sponsors put onto it that are with them. Give them if you're going to sit there and say this is no, but like at least give them a group that they can reach out to, say, hey.
Some prime real estate for you right here that I can
exactly. Like, I mean, I see it all the time. You know, boxers putting things together for stuff like that, and that's how they market it. Like, hey, I got room for 3 sponsors here, 2 sponsors there. Like it's one of these things. Like it's that's gotten lost along the line over the years of how things gotten done in the UFC, and I kind of feel that's why you see this more, I would call more of a mass exodus over the last few years of some of the bigger names in the sport leaving. Like I obviously seen Anthony Showtime Pettis, walk away from. He was probably going to get similar or a raise to the contract he already had, which was pretty good. It wasn't like he was on the bottom end of that, but he decided to leave. And now he's a guy that's in your organization. Are you excited to see somebody like him not only give more eyes to the organization, but like you got kind of give you guys a little bit more public clout, I guess I would say.
Yeah, for sure. Like him and Roy McDonald and all these guys, jumping over. It's just kind of bringing more legitimacy to PFL for sure. Just showing like guys that could easily still be competing with UFC or choosing to move over to PFL, regardless of what anybody's, idea why they're moving over there is. But, ultimately I know why. I know exactly why, because I've been in the same position. So, just because I didn't go back to UFC isn't necessarily, that's a choice I had to make based off of what's better for me in my career and what I can do and how much I can make and what I can do left with my time. So.
Hey, listen, like it's no disrespect to the UFC, but like at the same time, like it's your guys' lives, it's your guys' bodies, and at the end of the day, it has to be worth not just the time you guys lose from family, friends, etc., but like the toll it takes on you guys. If it's not worth it in the end, as much as you love something, it has to it all has to be worth the penny that you put in, right?
For sure. So it makes it all worth it. I mean, going out there earning something and showing what you can have for it. So,
Now, one thing I want to ask you, like we've been hearing a lot more reports of like we're starting to see more CTE kind of come over to MMA, where we just seen it come out. Sam Stout made that post for Spencer Fisher, and he's been having a lot of problems with stuff like that. Is that another reason why you guys both as athletes know how thin this thing is, where if you guys take too much in there, it could really cost you guys? Is this another reason why to be more prudent onto making everything worth it?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I mean, every time you go in there, you're taking a risk, just like you said. And the CTE, I mean, you can look at it a couple of ways. Boxing in its own right is worse because technically, a guy can be knocked out multiple times in a fight. And, if he beats the A count, he gets up. Does that mean he did have a concussion? No, by no means. He probably had several concussions throughout the fight. Now, MMA, you get one concussion, and usually that's it. I mean, there's people like Frankie Edgar who can get knocked down and up, and he's probably had several issues like that. But, the same idea, anybody that's like I can tell you, anybody else can tell you, if I've had MRIs, I've seen small amounts of white matter in there from, damage, which, is consistent with someone that does a combat sport. But you just have to know that's part of the risk whenever you're doing this, and you have to know when to hang the gloves up the time that's necessary. Hence the reason, like the bare knuckle boxing. I don't know if that'd be in my future or not. Just
I mean, like I said, Dave Feldman probably have to make Dan a six-figure for per fight kind of deal,
right? Make it actually worth it.
And there ain't nothing wrong with that either, man. Listen, if you want to turn that down, there's nothing wrong with that. If you want to kind of stay where you're at, and like you're saying, you've already seen MRIs, and you've already seen things that that could possibly be something affecting you down the road. It's a risk you guys have known take and willingly take, and and it goes on to talking about willing risk. I want to get your thoughts on what happened yesterday at weigh-ins, man. I mean, that I'm not even going to point fingers at fighter or anything like that. The fact that it's come out now that she was having issues backstage, commission members look at these fighters. We all know how the process going. You guys are checked before you get on the scale and everything like that. She passed out back there, and then she also passed out in front of everybody. The fact that why was she regardless, male, female, indifferent, or whatever, why was she picked up and then trotted back out there, put on this? Why was the fight not canceled right then and there?
Exactly. I mean, if you look at wrestling, they actually check you for dehydration. So, if they were to check her and see what her actual levels of hydration were, they would have pulled her out right away. Guarantee it. I mean, if she was to the point where she couldn't even stand up and she was passing out, she's cutting so much weight to such an unhealthy level that it's ridiculous. I cut weight, but I walk around when I'm off season, I walk around 230, 235 max. So that's my top end weight. So and I'm a 205er. So I walk around 230. So I cut down, say I'm 220 right now in my 220s. So by the time it comes time to cut weight, I'm literally cutting maybe a max of, 15 pounds at most. But we do that, that's something you can do that's manageable. But when these people, especially a woman, because it's a lot different for them, it's a lot harder for them to cut the weight. They have more body fat, higher percentage. So, it's much harder for them to cut the weight without almost really killing themselves with dehydration. So the fact that it's like that, that's really a fail on the athletic commission right there, personally.
And and I know Rachel talked about this last night, and it's something we probably talked about this in the past too. Just the fact that I just think you should have more weight classes. I know a lot of promotions are against it because it's tougher to promote things if you're having, if you're losing, 3 or 4 or 5 of your bigger fighters that are in that weight class are kind of going up because that's just where they kind of fit on the scale of things. And I know it's rough in matchups like that, but hey, listen. I think that's a win for everyone. It's a win for the promotion. It's a win for the fans. It's a win for the fighters because you guys won't ever have to worry about that. All right, hey, I can't make this weight class anymore. Maybe I know it's sometimes it's 10 or 15 pounds between weight classes in MMA. Let me get 7 or something. Let's find some happy medium where you can make those things happen. I get, especially with when we're talking about the UFC. I know how they are because we're at the point where you're about to lose the featherweight division for the women's in there because that's who they feel like promoting. And that's their choice at the end of the day. But I still think if you add more weight classes in that aspect, you're not having to worry about if this person makes space. Oh, well, now we're going to have to punish this person, and now we're going to have to sit there and play the pointing game, and media gets involved, and then you're having all this other nonsense. If you would just go, regardless if we're talking the athletic commissioner or the promotions themselves, if you guys just go sit down and say, hey, let's kind of or have some other protocols. The ones you have in line aren't working, obviously, with the fact that we've seen what we've seen happen Friday on weigh-ins.
100%.
There's so much like as young as the sport has, as much as it's grown over the last 20 years or so, we still, as combat sports go, have so much more to fix to kind of make things the way it needs to be to run properly.
Oh yeah, I agree 100% with you. I mean, there's so many options they could even use, like cruiserweight, like where I'm like 225. Like, why not have it in between heavyweight class? You could have much more opportunity for super fights, like the ones between the Stipes and the light heavyweights, where they don't have to jump up to this ridiculous amount where if somebody can weigh 265 instead of 205, like 225 right in the middle. That's perfect. I fought a heavyweight twice, and I didn't weigh any more than 225. And both times I won because I was faster than the guy. But that doesn't – the fact is that I was kind of 255 when I fought one time.
And speaking of which, one of those said fights, he started a little – got an article written about me because of it. Mr. Zoo. I still don't forget about it. That's still funny. It's still funny to me.
For sure.
Oh man! And speaking of which, I actually just got that picture printed out, the one after the fight with you and my daughter, because she wanted me to get some more stuff because she was doing stuff in her room. I was like, I need you to get these pictures printed out. So I would go look at them, like the one from Dan. Yeah, I'm like, yeah. She's like, I'm like, all right. So it's like she still keeps up with you too, man. I know she's not on like social media all like that, but she keeps up with you.
Nice, that'll be good. Well, I'll be bringing another title home this year for sure. That's the plan, anyway.
Definitely, man. We definitely gotta have you on here a few more times. Obviously, after this victory in a little bit over a month or so, we can we can kind of run this back after you
definitely hype it up big time.
Get the nickel. What we missed?
I'm watching Santos Dawson live, and Santos Dawson just threw a spinning kick that nearly knocked Santos out cold.
Nice.
I'm sorry. I was gonna try to wait a couple of minutes, and then I wanted to ask your opinion on this. With the fights going on tonight, and if you could kick any of these guys' ass, but then
and listen, man.
I reacted.
I'd go against anybody, 100%.
I figured that was going to be the answer I was going to get.
If you think of where the light heavyweight division is now in the UFC, like it's wide open. Like Jan's a good guy, good champion. He's no John Jones, but they don't have the next heir apparent there. So like you really like. He's one of those things now, like where everyone knew, 3-4 years ago, John was going up to heavyweight at some point in time. Everyone knew it was going to happen.
Just goes to show how ridiculous the idea of Israel Adesanya fighting John Jones was when you see how easily Jan was able to control him once they got down to the ground. I mean, there were some good points for Israel in that fight, but I think ultimately that was a pretty easily controlled fight by the bigger fighter. So I think that if we had seen John Jones, it would have been a dismantling when they fought.
Yeah, and I would like this. I was one of those guys that you like to see how the styles play out because they have a lot similar styles, but now to see how it played out against John's just too big.
Yeah,
too big, too strong, too fast, and that's no disrespect to Izzy because he has great skills on the feet. Just John is just years ahead of him in some things, and it just.
Oh, for sure, John. He can do everything. I mean, he'll go out there, try to fight the guy he's fighting, and try to do the same thing that guy does better than that guy. That's usually what he does. He likes to do that to guys. He likes to break them like that because he's not a one-punch knockout guy, but he'll break the guy. So it's always fun to watch the fights because of that.
Yeah, because he finds a way to tactically break you down and do things like you were saying, You wonder things in some fights, like why do you just do this when you know you're so much better than him in that area? But it's just because it's just how John goes about breaking down his fights and how he game plans his fight. Like you said, he he likes to find the thing that you're good at and beat you with it. Like he did it against all the guys. Go and look at some of the guys that he went on his when he went on that amazing run when he went to go win the title. Like what he did to Shogun, like what he did to Machida, all them guys. Like it was just amazing.
Oh, for sure. And his fights with Cormier, even though whatever was up with his tests and all this stuff.
Yeah.
You see what he did. Like the first time they fought, he out-wrestled him the entire time, and they beat him. And then he ended up setting him up with that kick, told him pretty much he was going to do that, and still knocked him out, and still finished him with it. So, it's pretty crazy, this skill level, his talent.
Now, what do you think? You think he's going to be a heavyweight champion, or is he going to have some trials and tribulations before he gets it?
I think he's going to have a lot more than he thinks to handle when he gets up against Stipe. And Stipe is a whole different level. So I train with that guy on a pretty regular basis, and he's. I was gonna
ask you. So obviously you're saying Francis ain't gonna have nothing in that second fight either.
No, I think, and Stipe's only in better shape, and he's only better than he ever was right now. So I mean, ultimately, I think he's gonna outwork Ngannou, and I think it's just like the first fight. He's gonna have to make it out of that first round and avoid all that damage and avoid all that power. But if he can get past that, he's going to wear him down. He's going to do the same thing. He might even be able to finish him this time. So,
listen, I'm always Team Stipe. You know that, man. I've always been Team Stipe. He's one of these guys. He if you walk across him on the street, and you didn't watch MMA, you would not know you're walking past by arguably one of the baddest men on the planet.
For sure.
And that's what you got to love about him, because he's the baddest man on the planet, and he's the most unassuming guy when you look at him to kind of think of it that way. So. Oh
yeah, I mean he's been special ever since he fought for NAFs back in the day when he was fighting over there in Cleveland, just doing all the stuff with the NAAFS, and because I was fighting on the same circuits as him, and we were both fighting on a lot of the same cards, and you could just see there was something different about that guy. And you knew he was going to climb the ranks, and he performed. As soon as he got into the spotlight, he just, blew away. Just took everything they gave him and just took it away with it. It was awesome.
All right, last one before I let you go. You were talking about super fights. What are your thoughts on this stuff? We've been seeing a lot over the last few years. And will Daniel Svan ever find his super fight?
Hey, I'm game for any super fight, honestly. I mean,
if you could pick anyone, either in MMA or boxing or one of your go-to combat sports, like who would the super fight you would want to be?
I want to fight John Jones. Why not? He's been a 205 king for a long time. He's got a lot of skills and a lot of abilities, but I've got that one punch knockout ability. So all I got to do is touch him a couple times the right way. So I'd love to go in there and fight him. I'd like to put that to test.
See, I already know what you're thinking. Then you wouldn't get him cocky, just get him leaning back one time, right?
That's all I need.
And get him to misjudge it once.
Exactly.
Listen, that's all it takes. It's 3 inches to shock the world, right?
Yep. I've done it 100 times.
Yeah, man. All right, Dan, you know how we do this thing. We throw the microphone over to you at the end. Anyone you would like to thank, training partners, teammates, shoot out your social sites, any charities you're working with, sponsors. The time is yours, my friend.
Oh, yeah. I mean, just, if you're in Columbus area, Ronin Training Center is where it's at. That's where you want to be. It's the best jiu-jitsu and the best MMA there is around. Follow me on Facebook, follow me on Twitter, follow me on Instagram. It's all Dragon Spawn. Look up at Dragon Spawn, everything. You find that. I've got YouTube going on. So, I've got some instructionals. I've got, I'm teaching just about everything, jiu-jitsu, MMA, striking. So, anything you want to learn, everything's out there. Garden of Life, awesome. One of the best supplement companies out there that you can get. They're healthy, clean, whey proteins, everything. They've got grass-fed beef, everything like that. So, my biggest sponsor, Clinch Gear, it's going to be, Garden of Life, Clinch Gear. And who's my other big one? Spar Buddy. He's a big guy back here, right behind me right here. It's nice having a little partner back there to fight with all the time. And, guy makes those. He's a pretty awesome dude, and he's got something really, really cool coming along. So appreciate the time.
Dude, it's always a pleasure, Dan, and always appreciate the time. I'll definitely be in touch with you, and best of skill as always. Win, lose, or draw. Let's get you back on here after the fight, man.
100% on the way to gold.
Hey, man, let's do it. Go get that thing. Go get your strap, man. It's about that time.
Oh yeah.
All right, Dan. Appreciate you. Have a good one, man.
Have a good one.
All right, everyone. That was Daniel the Dragon Svan. always love catching up with my friend. He's always fun, man. And hey, man, what do you think, man? You think Dan's gonna be able to get over the hump there finally and capture gold there in PFL's I think it's his third run in it this time.
I'm not going to bet against him. Why would I bet against him? The dude came on the show.
I'm just saying, like, if you look at the track
dude came on the show.
Listen,
he gave his case for like to beat anybody's ass in the fight game.
I'm just saying, I'm not going to brag, but if you go look at our guest track record, I think over the last year and a half, I think we've only have had 5 athletes who've been on lose their fight when they've come on. So I mean, we've gotten we've had we had Britton Hart before her big fight. Everyone was counting as Joe Elmore is going to be the next guy in bare knuckle boxing. Leonard Garcia just dispatched him. Our guest from last week. Mr. Elvin Leonberto, he did his thing last night. Oh, by the way, Chop Corley didn't answer the bell after the 3rd round. So yeah. So when I sit there tell you guys that and when I'm asking you guys to come on, I'm giving you more races now. We got the winning the higher winning percentage here.
I'll tell you what, this Grant Dawson guy was fighting this Santos guy, right? And for those first 2 rounds, Grant Dawson was getting his ass kicked. And at the end of he's bleeding from the side of the head really bad, and he was getting fucked up. And then at the end of the 2nd round, he threw that little spin kick that nearly knocked the dude out. And then he came out and dominated the 3rd round. He just knocked this dude out cold with some hammer fists. Hey, I'm not enough of an MMA newbie. I know what a hammer fist is. So
we're gonna get you learned up there, brother.
Yeah, he fucked this dude up. Bounced the dude's head off the mat, and the dude spit. The mouthpiece went flying. It was over.
Listen, there's one thing I love about MMA because at any given night, listen, anything can happen. We've seen it.
They're carrying the dude they're helping him out the ring with he's got arms around him. They're he's all fucked up. He got a concussion. You speaking of concussions, my man is fucked up.
But I mean, tonight's gonna be fun though, for real, because they got Derek Brunson and Kevin Holland are fighting. But we had another fight get pulled off after the weigh-in issue because COVID things and stuff like that. The Gillespie fight got canceled, and my boy Max Payne Griffin is got the co-main event slot. So big shout out to Max. Best of skill for him tonight in that matchup, and I'm really looking forward to the Derek Brunson Kevin Holland fight. Kevin had an amazing knockout his last time, and he's been talking a whole lot of mess, torturing Derek Brunson on social media. So, gonna be interesting to see how that one plays out.
There you go.
But I'm definitely happy we got Mr. Bird tuned in and watching the UFC preliminary fights tonight. I'm proud of you, brother. I am.
Hey, it seemed it was better than anything else on. So.
Oh wow! Wow! I thought you were
one half. That's a shot at the NCAA tournament because there's 4 different games on.
That's what I was saying. Wow, about you were just sitting there talking about how much fun you were having watching the tournament. Next thing you know,
game's over. I had to turn that game off because it's over.
And then you lost all the excitement. It's no, I'm
well,
done.
there's no other good games yet. I tried to turn on the Gonzaga game. Gonzaga's beating Norfolk by a point. It's really weird how close that game is right now. We're 8 minutes into the Gonzaga-Norfolk State game, and Gonzaga's winning 12-11.
Man, but before we get into this last segment again, everyone, guys, please make sure you guys are heading over to Body Check Wellness and using the promo code A2D for 20% off. Like I told you, we're anyone who using that code, and I think we'll probably announcing it at probably the beginning of next month, since we haven't gotten an actual thing from. We're waiting on a couple little things to make it, but we're gonna be doing a little giveaways attached to any of our fans or listeners who use any of our discount codes for any of our sponsors. We'll be hooking you guys up. So, guys, again, make sure you guys are checking out bodycheckwellness.com. And for that last half, what about them Sixers, though? I know you can't watch it, but come on, they're doing the no Ben, no Joe. I think it's like what now? What are they saying in the chat? The Sixers are up by 33.
I mean, it doesn't sound like much of a basketball game. I don't know why you're still watching. So
I don't know what's going on, Ted. But I don't know why I see your comments here, and I'm pretty sure that's the Periscope emblem. Not sure what's going on there, Ted. But these are the first two ones I'm seeing. If you were commenting before that, I didn't see it. So.
Oh, I found Spanish professional wrestling. It's this is gonna be interesting. It's amazing, right? Just going through all my channels. I don't even know what's on any of them. I'm just figuring it all out.
Get your thought on that one.
Women's college gymnastics. There you go.
It was crucial 2 seasons ago, and he should have been done a few seasons. He should have been done last year.
He's not done if he screws it up again.
Yeah, of course. I told you he's got the blackmail on Lori.
Well, you know what he is? He's like the wife that we all know the husband that's pussy whipped so bad. Like Roseman's got Lori's balls in a jar, and he might as well put them on a shelf and claim ownership of them and possession of them. Like that's what this is. Like
Matthew, I think most of the Eagles fan base would be with you, especially after he just sat there and say build around Jalen Hurts. They go draft a quarterback at 6. I think more than
that would be the most Howie thing ever, because that would be Howie making a statement that no, I run this football team. I'm in charge of personnel decisions. You don't tell me what to do, motherfucker. It's the other way around. You want to build around Jalen Hurts? Well, so did I up until you said that. Now I want nothing to do with it. Justin Fields, that's the exact that's the spiteful, vindictive Howie Roseman move. It really is.
Just so you know, 97-63.
Sounds fun. That's gonna be the Phillies' record this year.
Oh yeah, you think they're gonna win 97 games?
They'll win more than 90. They'll probably. They could win 97. I think they could win. I think it's probably gonna take 90 to 95 games.
Zach.
I think it's going. I think if you want to be a playoff team, if you want to be a playoff team, Steven, which is what we're talking about with them, they're going to have to win close to that amount of games. You got to win at least 90.
They're not winning close to 100. Come on, man, you better stop that. I love you.
So if you don't win close to that, you might not even be a playoff team. There's way too many good teams in the National League.
90 is the max.
If they win 90 games max, they're not a playoff team.
I think they get in with 90 wins.
I don't, because there's too many good teams.
Well, I guess
the Nationals, the Dodgers, the Padres.
I guess we'll have to follow the moniker of the show name. We're going to have to agree to disagree, my friend.
I mean, listen, the offense, if it plays like it did last year,
if you're going to tell me they're going to win 97 games with the way that pitching staff is right now, you're absolutely out of your mind.
The pitching staff, it is spring training. I don't give a fuck what I see in spring training. We went out, got Archie Bradley. We did all these moves, these things that are supposed to solidify the one weakness of this baseball team, which wasn't the starting rotation, that was the bullpen, right?
I just said the pitching in general. I didn't point out
the pitching in general is good enough to win 97 games with this offense. If you've got one of the best offenses in baseball, which we very well could, now that's a big if. That means everybody has to play up to that potential that we know they're capable of. And we don't want you can't have guys having a down year, which that's a lot to ask for, but that's the reason you get paid the big bucks, right? Harper, Hoskins, Muto, Segura, Gregorius, all of them. You're talking about whoever's playing center field, whether it's a combination of all those guys. Kingery. All these guys that are role players need to be significant role players on this team. They all have to have good years. But that's I'm not going to sit here and play this game and act like,
oh, well, Harper's going to have a down year. Hoskins isn't going to be able to play. No, like I'm looking at this. Those guys are going to play up to the potential that we need them to play up to. The offense looked really, really good last year in that sense. No reason for me to think that they can't, even build on that and be even better than they were last year, right? So the only thing I'm worried about is the bullpen. My starting rotation is probably a little bit better than it was last year when you look at top to bottom. Matt Moore's looked the one guy you maybe take out of spring training and say, well, that guy's looked really good. Matt Moore's looked like a guy that you feel like as a fifth starter, maybe you're a little bit more comfortable every fifth day when he's taking them out as your fifth starter than you have been the past few days, right? But the bullpen to me on paper is much better than it was last year. Great. Does that translate right now? In spring training, a lot of things are what they're not going to be come the regular season. But you tell me how many games you think 90 games makes the playoffs when you're talking about the Dodgers, the Padres, the Braves, the Nationals. That's 4 teams right there that we're competing with that are probably better than us.
You got another Sixer point from or draft point from one of the guys here in the chat.
Okay, whatever. Just as good as Jamar Chase. Whatever. Shut up, Reese. I'm trying to be serious with you, Stephen, because this is a good conversation here.
I guess you're telling Philly to shut up too.
Hold on. Let's go through our division winners here, right? So if we compete for the National League East, say we don't win it. Say the Nationals win the National League East, right? Say you got the Dodgers winning the National League West. You got somebody that's winning the National League Central, probably the Cardinals, right? Even if there's nobody else really in that division that you say is any good. So there's your 3 division winners out of the West, the East, and the Central, right? Now you're going to have, who else do you compete with? The Padres are there. Are we better than them? No. The Braves, are we better than them? No. There's a lot of teams in there that are really, really good baseball teams, and you could win 90 games and not make the playoffs. Like you realistically could. So this idea, 95 wins, I think 95 wins guarantees you a playoff spot. I don't know if 90 wins does.
But here's the thing, Philly. What makes you think Howie has the wherewithal to trade down and to have scouting Mr. Marshall to be able to draft him? The problem is you're giving him credit to be able to be that smart. We've already accomplished that when it unless he gets lucky, like freaking a kid freaking trying to play darts in a freaking tornado. That's him drafting.
Well, I think this one's a little bit simpler. I mean, I think listen, when Brandon Graham comes out and says it either has to be this player or that player, I mean, at this point, you get to the point. I mean, it's like this is a draft that almost at 6, like somebody should fall into your lap where like it's legitimately impossible to fuck this one up.
Why? Because we said that about the last few, and he still managed to do it.
Justin Fields, right? But, I mean, let's even go through options. Either say he doesn't like. We were all talking about Kyle Pitts, Jamar Chase. Okay, say he doesn't even take one of them. Say he takes Patrick Surtain. None of us are unhappy with that. We think that kid's gonna be a stud, right? Even if he reaches and takes Micah Parsons, long term, we're probably still gonna be okay with how good of a player Micah Parsons is gonna be, right? Like. You're at a point where, like, even if you take the guy where you're like, why would you take him when those other 3 guys are there? You still almost can't go wrong. The only pick that you can do that could legitimately fuck this up and be a bad pick is taking, like Justin Fields.
I love you, Don. I love you, Don.
So that's a good point there, Steven. Say you take Caleb Farley there. Say you take Caleb Farley. Over like Surtain. Am I mad? Yeah, I think Surtain's the better player, but long term, we're probably still not unhappy with the player Caleb Farley is, right? Like, he's probably still a stud player.
I'll just put it to you like this. Howie can't miss a guy till like round 4 because he can't afford to.
Yeah, I mean, that would be nice.
He can't afford to.
On those first 2 picks. He's got to hit on those first 2.
He has to hit. He has to hit on the first 3.
Well,
they all have to be contributors, and they all have to start.
very few GMs do that. So I mean, I'm like,
yeah, I know, but he put himself in the position where he has to.
If you get me a Kyle Pitts and an Asante Samuel Jr. in your first 2 picks, I legitimately do not care what happens after that. Like, you're going to have me 2 solid, not just solid, 2 studs, 2 guys that are absolute studs.
By the way, at the end of 3, it's one of 6 to 80. Thoughts?
What else can you say about it? There's not much to say there, is there?
So just so all the Philly fans know, Zachary is not allowing any Flyers talk on here until they show him otherwise. If anyone's wondering why we haven't talked it tonight, I was trying to talk it. As soon as I told him the score, he just basically just shut it down.
Like, why? Like, why would you why would we torture people with that?
Yes, but right, like, all right, yeah, he already said he wished he didn't say the quarterback factor thing, which we all knew was a stupid statement from the begin with. And you're sitting there saying you don't see them take it 1 at 6. Okay, that's fine, but that still doesn't mean that they still take the right 1 at 6, or the one who's going to make a difference on this team.
He takes Jalen Waddle at 6 over Chase or Pitts or like anybody like that. And I even like Jalen Waddle. But that 6. Like, that would be a reach. That's you reaching.
But that's what you're looking at. What most fans are. But that's what most of us are worried about, is because he's still the one overall making the decision right now. And I don't know about you. Can you trust him to be? I wouldn't want him doing it. I'd be like, listen, you helped us get the Cap back into a good situation.
Like, I don't care. Like,
I don't want to see you until training camp. Okay, Howie, and that's the basically where I would be.
Throw 5 names in a hat and just fucking pick one, and you're fine. Like, literally, like, we're overthinking it. This one is not. You can't fuck this one up unless he really just like decide like I'm sabotaging shit. Like, seriously, like, it's not like.
All right, well,
again, like, you could take Caleb Farley, and we'll think it's the worst pick ever in the moment. And long term, it's still probably a good pick.
And hey, listen, man. Like I said, it's gonna be interesting to see what plays out over the next month between what's left of free agency and the draft.
All that we're riding with what we got this year. We're hoping some of those receivers take, the young receivers take a next step. That's what we're riding with this year. And that's why I was laughing at the people that talk about Juju Smith-Schuster and shit like that.
I don't even know why we offered him a contract. If you had like that, is just what?
I mean, I guess because if you go and offer him a contract, that means now you could go focus on defense in the draft. Like, you could go Surtain Samuel back-to-back picks and be like, wow, like, we're really locked down. Like, look at our defensive secondary now, type of thing.
Here's the thing: we're all talking about the secondary, and we just picked up guys to help the secondary.
Yeah. So,
but we still need help up front and in the linebackers.
Sure.
This team is never. I don't think as long as me and you are going to be alive, this team will never value that linebacker.
Linebacker being a position where, if you want to talk about a marquee signing, no, but I could see them going into bringing like cheap veteran linebackers or guys that kind of like. Just they find a way to, the market being what it is, with the cap space being a little bit less. Maybe they don't get signed or don't get a look from a team the way they would the normal year, and you're bringing in a couple guys like that because you still have young linebackers that, listen, we can all sit here and talk about how much we don't like Davion Taylor. The point is they're going to try to develop the guy. They're going to hope that the guy does something, they can develop him, and he takes that step forward this year, right? That's why they brought in the dude from Indianapolis to be the defensive coordinator that is responsible for developing Darius Leonard and guys like that in Indy in that linebacking core, right? Like, they're hoping they can develop some of these young guys. And we talk about how Alex Singleton played his way.
I'm so with you here, dude. I would like to see not even this one. I want to see previous draft boards. You want to see that game? I want to see previous draft boards.
Sure.
How
And
the hell did they come to this conclusion?
he even said that they didn't listen to, like, oh, my scout said to do this and we did this. Okay, well then you're stupid and didn't listen to the scouts. So what you're and the scouts went out, and let's be honest, the scouts have found some gems in guys like, Fulgham, that like have come from out of nowhere and had some nice moments. Singleton, who they found in the Canadian Football League, and we take a chance on him, and he turns into our best linebacker this past year. So maybe my problem isn't with our scouts. My problem is with the fact that Howie Roseman just is got to be the smartest guy in the room.
He should not be making overall roster decisions. He's got to be the
smartest guy in the room. He tells the scout to fuck off and does his own thing. Okay, well, at some point, you got to do that so much before, like, you're like, okay, like, what do you scouts say? Okay, we'll do what the scouts say. But do I have confidence?
But right,
I don't know. I think I have more confidence to do it.
But right, let's be honest. The CB2 is going to be either round 1 or round 2 draft pick.
Yeah.
Everyone keeps sitting there yelling at Dory Jackson down our throats. It doesn't make it going to happen.
No.
Why would he sign here? 1, we've already addressed that earlier in there. 2, you don't have the room for it. So why not go younger guy you're going to develop who could eventually be molded by Slay? Not only that, why would you want another veteran in Dory Jackson when you have that basically with Roby Coleman and freaking Avante Maddox and LeBlancs of the world?
It's people want. I can hear somebody now. Oh, he stinks. Why would you try to develop him? Because that's the way it works when you don't have cap space and you've got young players. You got to try to develop these guys at some point. That's just the way it goes, right? Like, it is what it is. If we suck, we suck, and eventually you move on. But you got all these dudes on rookie contracts. Like, either the dudes develop or they don't, and that's just the way that's going to go. Like, it's you got to find out what you got with the guys. And you look, we bitched about this linebacking core, and I'm with you. Like, it's not the most ideal situation. But again, Singleton played his way into having a roster spot. TJ Edwards isn't going anywhere, right? Davion Taylor, they're going to try to develop, right? There's other guys in there that, showed enough with them. Like, they're probably going to,
I'm with you, man. We were sitting there saying, like, I don't care if it's 1 or 2. I don't care if it's Patrick Surtain or Asante Samuel Jr. That's what everyone's kind of goals are as far as cornerback goes for this draft.
Yeah.
And I'm with you right here too. Don't sign an overpriced anybody. That's what is guiding us into this problem in the first place, where we're having a freaking so that we can restructure the contracts. So we don't cut them. I mean, this is a mess of our own making. Again. So yes, I don't want to sign an overpriced corner, linebacker, defensive end, offensive lineman, running back.
At this point, I think if we bring in anything, it's going to be somebody cheap, somebody on a flyer that's trying to have a bounce back year type of thing. Somebody that you're hoping, he was injured last year, he was hurt last year, and you're hoping that you get them cheap, they come in and find a way to somehow.
Unfortunately, I think you're right, Ray. I think only a force of nature is going to end this relationship. Unfortunately,
yeah, this is where we're at right now.
And this is why I said, like, this is what we're stuck with. It is what it is. There ain't nothing we can do about it. Apparently, 97.5 has an A or 94.1 WIP has an asked for them to remove Howie Roseman long enough for Jeffrey Lurie to consider that a viable option.
I think it's funny. I heard Joe Giglio said on his when he was on Tom's show, when him and Tom were going at it, and he said, Jeffrey Lurie, it's one of those things when you look at his history since owning the Eagles, they never stay bad for long periods of time, right? Like, they're never bad for more than a year or two at a time. They always find a way to bounce back. And I thought about it. I was like, all right, he's right. In the 25, whatever years, close to 30 years that Jeffrey Lurie's on the team, I guess that is true. And you know what that tells me? That tells me that at some point we're due to go through a stretch where we're going to go through a 4 or 5, 6 year run where we're just not any good. And maybe that's this time now. If it's 25 years of him owning the football team, we've never had more than a couple year stretch where we've been bad. Ray Rhodes, we're a playoff team the first year, then 2 bad years. Andy Reid, right? By his second year, we're a playoff team again. Chip Kelly, a playoff team, then 2 bad years. Doug Peterson, bad first year, win the Super Bowl. All that stuff's true with Jeff Miller. I see what you're saying. I see your trend. I guess eventually that trend ends. Trends come to an end. They just do.
Well, and you can't just bank on the fact that they're going to get it right again. You can't bank on that.
You're telling me we've always said this about this organization, but now more than ever, they seem like the organization. Our shit don't stink. We're smarter than you. We know what we're doing. Don't question us. Just look, flash the Super Bowl ring at people. Oh yeah, why are you questioning us? We're a championship organization.
Like I said, right? Listen, I would concentrate on, as he was sort of saying that he didn't listen to the scouts last year. Well, he should listen to every freaking thing they say this year, even to the point of the guys that are going to be undrafted who have potential to either be practice squad guys or guys who could eventually make the 53-man roster and do something along the lines that way. Because you know what, listen, signing anybody that is named anything shouldn't be anything that seems interesting. You've already been able to find fool's gold a bunch of times over the last few years. Hector Bruce and guys like that. You find guys.
Your signing was today. I mean, let's be honest. If we're really being honest about the poll question, your marquee signing was Anthony Harris. That's your marquee signing. It's not getting any more marquee than that. And that guy's a good player. It's not like he's just somebody. Dude,
like I said, there's nothing wrong with us not getting them, and I'm perfectly fine with the fact that we're not getting a marquee free agent. We don't need one. We need to get younger. We need to get more money into this roster. So yes, we're going to look along the lines of restructuring, rebuilding, retooling, and developing. That's the only way this team's going to get better faster. That is the only way. You're not buying your way out of this. It's not happening.
Yeah, it's not. We're stuck. All these young draft picks. We got to hope Jalen Reagor, develop and looks like and actually looks like a guy that can be a legitimate playmaker for you, right? You got to hope that Davion Taylor turns into somebody that can, even if he's not a star, can contribute at the linebacker position. You've got to hope somebody, one of those young offensive linemen, Mayalata, whoever it is, one of them turns into somebody that, Dillard, whichever one. Hey, that's my new anchor on the offensive line. You got to hope those things happen. But, the city will be like, oh, I think that guy stinks. Okay, well, maybe the guy does stink. But at this point, I think we went through all these years where we didn't go through the chance of letting a guy like that develop with the idea, oh, well, maybe what if he stinks and here's a football team? Oh, we've got a chance to be too good to allow that to happen, sort of thing. And we never find out what we have in guys. And recently, especially as of late, we've had too many guys leaving the organization and going somewhere else and actually having, slightly more success at wherever they went to compared to what they had here. That makes me think, maybe we do need to stay committed to trying to develop some guys a little bit more. What's the hurt? What's the harm in trying to sit there and go through the headaches of developing a Davion Taylor if it takes you 3 or 4 years? Yeah, I get it. We overdrafted him. He shouldn't have been drafted in the 3rd round. But that doesn't mean I shouldn't sit here and stay committed to the process of trying to develop the guy into a good player.
Abso-freaking-lutely. But we're running up against it as in this very ring should be getting ready to get on here in a few minutes. Another fun one lined up for you guys next week. I'm gonna have 2 boxers on next week on the last hour of the weekly roundup. Just gonna have to tune in, keep subscribed, like all that good stuff to see who they are, and as Zach's obviously continuing to watching the fighting over there. Again,
I'm watching Gonzaga Norfolk, and the Kispert kid just hit like a 40-footer for 3.
And everyone else, the Sixers are up 115-95 over the Sacramento Kings. Flyers fans, sorry, Zachary says no go. it's another good no-go this week. So
Go Bolts. That's what I have to say about that.
no goals.
Go Bolts.
Go Bolts. Oh,
Yeah.
fuck you, bro.
Big
Fuck
Tampa Bay Lightning fans down here. There's a bunch of big time Lightning fans. So
fuck you, bro. Fuck you, bro. I love you, Zach, but fuck you, bro. Thanks, brother. I'll catch up with you later, Thomas. But other than that, keep you guys locked in on here in this very ring. A lot more programming, a lot more fun stuff. Like, subscribe, make sure you're checking out everything. And again, guys, if you also know Bryce from on here, not just do what I did, guys, make sure you're checking in on him because when anybody's going through anything like that, you're going to need somebody. So I'm gonna check in on him over the next few days. I just got his information. He's in Philly. I'm gonna actually go see him at some point in time this week. So, guys, appreciate everything. We'll see you next week. Some more fun talk. Some more Zach ranting. So some more craziness from you guys in the chat room. And we'll see you next.